We're looking at some of the cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm coming right up.
When sparks ignite, stay and play, it's game night.
Welcome to Wizards Whimsy. I'm your host Patrick. Today we'll be looking at a few cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm. We're going to focus mainly on the mana dorks. There are a few other cards that we will talk about. So if this kind of content interests you, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and share this video out. And make sure you leave a comment and let me know how you found me, or what you like about this video, what you like about my content, or what you'd like to see more of. But enough of that, let's go ahead and get into these cards. First, we're going to take a look at the Devotee from Dragonstorm. Now there's one in each color, so we're going to look at Sultai Devotee. It is one in a green. It is a zombie snake druid. It is a 2/1. It has death touch, and pay 1, add a black, green, or blue, activate once each turn. That is the main thing with each of the Devotees, is that they are filter and you can only do it once a turn. So the good thing about it is you don't have to tap them. You do spend one generic mana and you can filter it into whatever color it is. For this one, it's Sultai color, so it's black, green, and blue. But you can still attack with or block with these creatures. So again, it has death touch, so it can swing in and actually remove something big if your opponent decides to block with that big creature or not. The next one is Mardu Devotee. It is a 1 white mana human scout 1/2. It has, when this creature enters, scry 2. It has pay 1, add a red, white, or black. Activate once each turn. So again, like I said, you can only activate these abilities once each turn, but this one is pretty cool because whenever it enters, you get to scry 2, not surveil, so it's scry 2. So you're going to look at the top 2 cards of your library and put them back in any order, or put them to the bottom of your library in any order. So I think that's really interesting. Especially in white, it's not something that is really known for its scrying, so they're kind of stepping out of their color pie a little bit, and I find that very interesting and kind of refreshing. It gives more utility to some of these creatures, but again, like if you're playing in Commander, this is going to be in a red, white, black deck or a Mardu deck, so it does have its limitations there. But in other formats like Standard, Pioneer, Modern, this can go into any deck as long as it's running some white mana so that you can cast it. So again, the utility of these cards seem to be pretty decent on some of them not so much, but they are pretty good. Temur Devotee is 1 in a blue, human druid. It is a 3/3. The downside to this one is it's defender, so it can only block. So unless you have some kind of ability that lets your defenders attack, you just have a 3/3 blocking body that once a turn, you can filter a mana in for either green, blue, or red. And you can do that at any time. It's not at sorcery speed, so even on your opponent's turn, you can filter that mana if you need to use it for anything. So like I said, there is some good utility with these creatures. In Commander, you are locked into a certain color pie with each of them, but that is not really a downside, and I think it could actually open up some fun deck builds and give you access to other mana or more mana if you need in your Commander decks, especially if you're running a lot of colorless mana. This is a way that you can filter that. So I'd keep these pushed to the side, and when you start brewing a deck, don't forget about them because they're actually pretty decent to actually use. Jeskai Devotee is 1 in a red. Orc Monk is a 2/2. It has Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Now again, when you're filtering that mana, you do not have to tap these devotees, so you can actually use them to attack if you need to, or to block if you need to as well, because again, you're just paying a generic mana and you're filtering it. And the Jeskai, of course, filters for Jeskai colors, which is blue, red, and white. It is a 2/2, but if you cast your second spell, it becomes a 3/3, and you can really smack face with a 3/3. So keep that in mind when you're building your decks, that this is a good card that you can actually filter, and you do get a benefit whenever you cast your second spell. And finally, we have Abzan Devotee. It is 1 and a black dog cleric. It is a 2/1. It has filter 1 to do Abzan colors, so white, black, or green. You can only activate once each turn. But the second ability is actually pretty cool too. You can pay 2 and a black and return this card from your graveyard to your hand. So you can essentially just keep getting this creature back if it gets killed or dies. So you don't have to worry about smacking into something or what happens when you block. And it does not limit when you can do this. That is all of the devotees. But there is another mana dork that is actually quite interesting, and that is Sunset Strike Master. Sunset Strike Master is a 2-drop, 1 generic and a red. It is a human monk 3/1. It has tap, add 1 red mana. Or you can pay 3, tap, sacrifice this creature. It deals 6 damage to target creature with flying. So essentially, you can use this to create your board state, and then when your opponent plays that big dragon, it's a 6/6, you can actually sacrifice this creature and deal 6 damage to that dragon, so, or any creature with flying. But it's very interesting, and I love cards that you can use multiple ways. It just adds to them, and it actually gives you a reason to actually put these cards in your decks, because one, it's ramp, it's extra mana, or it is a removal for a big flying creature. So I see this getting played not only in standard, but I can see it being played in other formats, and I think it'll definitely see some play in Commander. I don't know if it'll breach into CEDH. If it does, it'd be just on the fringe, but it's still a very interesting creature because it has the ability to not only tap for mana, but also deal 6 damage to a creature with flying. And we have just a few more cards to take a look at. And the first one that I want to look at is Runescale Storm Brood. It is a 4-drop, 3 generic and a red. It is a dragon. It is a 2/4. It has flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell or a dragon spell, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So this can trigger multiple times whenever you're casting non-creature spells. What's really interesting about this card is the mechanic Omen. Now, this new mechanic, the card looks like it's an adventure card, but it has an Omen. And what that is that it is an instant or sorcery, and instead of exiling it and casting the creature later on, you actually shuffle this card back into your library so that you can draw it again. Chilling Screech, that is the Omen spell. Chilling Screech is a 2-drop. It is 1 and a blue. It is an instant. Counter target spell with mana value 2 or less. So yes, that's a counter spell that shuffles back into your library. I think this will see play in Commander, possibly even CEDH. Now, again, you're limited to having blue and red in those decks, but it is a counter spell that counters mana value 2 or less. So it doesn't matter if it's instant, sorcery, creature, enchantment, or whatever. And some of the more powerful spells in CEDH are 2 mana or less. You got Underworld Breach, you got Lion's Eye Diamond, you have Thassa's Oracle. There's a ton of cards that this can actually counter. So again, it is a counter spell that shuffles back in. I don't know how much the actual dragon side of it will get used, but just being able to have a counter spell being recurred into your deck over and over again, I feel that that is enough for people to actually test it out and try it out to see if it's worth slotting into your deck. Now this next one, I don't see it getting played a whole lot in standard or any of those constructed formats, but I can see it being played in a Jeskai deck for Commander. I don't feel that it will see play in CEDH. Could be wrong, but I think the mana cost is going to be too high. And the card I'm talking about is New Way Forward. It is a 5-drop, 2 generic, and Jeskai, so blue, red, white. It is an instant. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, New Way Forward deals that much damage to that source's controller, and you draw that many cards. So you can stop any kind of damage that's coming your way, and of course you can redirect that damage to the source's controller, and then you get to draw that many cards. So if you're redirecting 4 damage, you get to draw 4 cards. I think the one thing that's holding it back is the mana cost, it being 5. By the time you have this and you leave 5 mana open, I think that, you're going to be pretty much in bad trouble if you're relying on this. But I can definitely see it being played in EDH, your little casual format. I can see, someone running this. Now, one of the reasons that I picked this card to talk about is because I really love that artwork. If you take a look at this artwork, it is just phenomenal. I love the way it looks. I love how you move around the picture. So again, whenever I saw this card, I was like, I'm going to talk about it no matter if it's a good card or a bad card, just because of that artwork. I find it amazing. And this artwork, like I said, it's worth it just to look at this. So if you're building a fun little Jeskai deck, this could be a way to help you draw cards and prevent damage. So go ahead and pick this up for your Jeskai Commander decks. Auroral Procession. It is a instant. It is a 2-drop, a green and a blue. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. I think this would be a great card in Simic decks or other decks that have Simic in the color. It's a great way to recur a combo piece or a good utility piece, or even a land, so that you don't miss your land drop. I think this is a fine card to run in your Commander decks. Will it see play in CEDH? Probably not. There's other cards that do similar things that are cheaper or better. Don't know if this will actually see play. It could. Whenever new sets come out, players start brewing, and there's plenty of cards to test out to see just how viable they are in the highest form of Commander. This next card is getting a lot of talk on the internet on whether or not it is going to be a staple in CEDH, how much play it's going to see in CEDH, or if it's even a good card. So there's people that are on one side that this is the greatest thing ever, to this is the crappiest card that could ever have been made, and all in between. The card we're talking about is Mistrise Village. It is a land. This land enters tapped unless you control a mountain or a forest. You can tap it to add a blue, or you can pay blue and tap it. The next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. This may sound similar. There is Boseiju, who shelters all, that is pay 2 life, tap it, add a mana, and if you use this mana to cast an instant or sorcery, that spell is uncounterable. Well, this one is any spell, so instead of paying 2 life, you're essentially using 2 mana. Since you're paying the 1 blue mana and tapping this, it's essentially 2 mana to actually make a spell uncounterable. This last card we're going to talk about, I was shocked whenever I saw that it was getting printed into Standard. I was like, what are they thinking doing that? It is Craterhoof Behemoth. That's right, the big old 5/5 beast that is 8 mana to cast, 5 generic and 3 green, has haste. When this creature enters, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Yeah, it's insane that they're putting this in Standard. There's plenty of ramp, so getting to 8 mana and dropping this, and even if this is the only creature that is not tapped, depending on how many creatures you have, I mean, he could be a 10/10 that is, swinging in with trample. He could be, even bigger than that if you're in a token deck. If you're building with tokens, I mean, this is just a huge, huge card to have. And to have it in standard, I think that this is going to be a problem once someone figures out the most efficient way to get it, because besides casting it for 8, there's ways to actually cheat this in. Having a big 5/5 creature that when it enters gets +X/+X and has trample, and all your other creatures get the same +X/+X and get trample. I think this card can be a format warping, possibly, once someone figures out the best way to either cheat it in or to just hard cast it. Your token decks have just gotten a lot better because the more of those little creatures you have, the bigger that your creatures will be whenever you drop this. So you can drop him in and give all your creatures +10/+10, and all of a sudden, even if he's the only untapped creature, you're still swinging in with a 15/15 with trample. I love this card. Whenever I got into Commander, it was a winning piece. I played Elfball, and this was just a wonderful card to put in there because you put all those elves out, you get all those elf tokens, and all of a sudden you're off to the races. You drop this bad boy and you just wipe the field. You're getting rid of all 3 of your opponents in Commander. So I really love this card. It's probably one of my favorite finishers whenever it comes to Commander, and now we get to see it in Standard. Now, I did play Elfball in Modern a little bit until I found a different deck. So, I mean, holy crap. I am so excited to see this. The great thing is that it will be more available and the price will be down. So people that have wanted to pick this card up, they actually have the opportunity to. And because it's going to have so many treatments, the price of this card could, drop to where it's a $10 card, which I think would be great. It will add it to where more people have access to it. And, the new players get to have fun and actually experience playing a Craterhoof Behemoth. What the? Whoa. All right, I guess we're going into a bonus Elfball deck tech. All right, so we're into the bonus. We get a standard Elfball deck, and it is going to be Golgori. So it is green-black. So we're going to hit the lands first. We have 3 Blooming Marshes, 5 Forests, 4 Swamps, 4 Underground Mortuaries, and 4 Wastewood Verge. So that's a total of 20 lands. We're running 2 Tyvar Jubilant Brawler. He is a 3-drop, 1 generic, a black and a green. He is a Planeswalker. He comes in with 3 loyalty. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. So any mana dorks we play with him on the field, we get to actually start utilizing their mana. He has a +1 untap up to 1 target creature. So your mana dork, you can untap it and then tap it again to add an additional mana. Or it has a -2, mill 3 cards, then you may return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we're getting our mana dorks back, or maybe one of our utility. Now we are running a total of 6 instances. The first one that we are running is Cut Down. It is 1 black instant, destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. Now, whatever your favorite removal spell is in green-black, you can just slot that into these 3 spots here, and I think it'll be just fine. I went with this because it is a 1-drop, and I want to keep the mana cost low. The next instance that we have is Snakeskin Veil. It is a 1 green instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains hexproof until end of turn. So if your opponents are trying to remove one of your mana dorks, you can actually protect it. That way, you can cast your Crater Hoof whenever you need to, or you can cheat them in. Now we have a lot of creatures. Again, this is a creature build. It is focused on being able to get up and cast the card that we want to cast, which is Crater Hoof Behemoth. He is a 8-drop, 5 generic and 3 green beast. He is a 5/5. He has haste. When this creature enters, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Again, we're running 3 of them. Now, as far as mana dorks go, one of the mana dorks that we are running is Druid of the Cow, which is a 2-drop, 1/3 elf druid. It has tap, add a green to your mana pool. Again, we are running 4 of these. Then we have Dwin's Elite. We have 3 copies of Dwin's Elite, which is a 2-drop elf warrior 2/2. When Dwin's Elite enters, if you control another elf, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Again, we're trying to build a wider field, and we want them to be elves because we do have mana dorks that actually care about that, such as Elvish Archdruid, which is a 3-drop 2/2 elf druid. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1, plus tap, add green for each elf you control. So again, this is one of the things that we want to do. We want to build a big elf field so that our Elvish Archdruid is tapping for more mana. So, if we can actually have him out on turn 4 after having Tyvar on turn 3, we can get to that 8 mana to cast Crater Hoof. Now, this is a utility creature. It is one way that we can do to try to cheat Crater Hoof out. It is Fauna Shaman. It is a 2-drop elf shaman 2/2. It has pay a green, tap, discard a creature card, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So if we have the way to actually cheat Crater Hoof out, we can, pitch him to the graveyard so that we have access to him in the graveyard. Or if we need a Crater Hoof, we can pitch one of our other mana dorks or one of our other creature cards and actually go get Crater Hoof and put him into our hand. We're running 2 Glissa Sunslayer. It is a 3-drop, 3/3. It is 1 generic, a black and a green legendary Phyrexian zombie elf. It has first strike and death touch. Whenever Glissa Sunslayer deals combat damage to a player, choose one. You draw a card and you lose a life. Destroy target enchantment or remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. So this can help remove counters from our opponent's planeswalkers. We can destroy one of their enchantments, or we can actually use it to draw a card. A lot of times people end up taking the 3 damage because they don't want to lose a piece, because this is a first strike death touch. So it doesn't matter if they're blocking with a 20/20, we'll still kill it and keep our creature. So, this is a great card. I've loved this card. I've loved playing it. I've hated playing against it. Imperious Perfect is, we have 3 of these. Now it is a 3-drop, 2 generic and a green elf warrior 2/2. Other elves you control get +1/+1. It has pay a green, tap, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. So again, we're trying to build our board to where it's wider so we have more elves. The more elves we have, the more we can tap Elvish Archdruid for, so that we can actually cast Crater Hoof. Of course, we are running 4 Llanowar elves. There's no reason not to, because this card will be in standard for the next 3-4 years. So we have access to it. It is a 1-drop green 1/1 elf druid. You tap it for 1 green mana. Leaf Crown Visionary is a 2-drop, 2 green 1/1. Other elves you control get +1/+1. Whenever you cast an elf spell, you may pay a green. If you do, draw a card. So again, this is a way that we can actually try to dig deeper into our deck. Our elves are cheap, so we can cast multiples in a turn and draw multiple cards with this out. And that is why we are running 3 copies of this. Of course, it is a elf lord, so all our elves get bigger. So we have a total of 3 elf lords in here, so all of our elves should get +3/+3 for the most part. Now, I did mention about cheating Crater Hoof in this next card we are running 3 copies of. It is Bhagavath's Faithful. It is a 1 black mana, 1/1 human cleric. It has pay 3 and a black, sacrifice Valgavalth's Faithful, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. So if we have Craterhoof in the field, we can pay 4 mana and actually bring him back, and ETB happens, and hopefully we can swing out for the win with a few creatures on the field. Now, we do have an alternate win con in this deck as well. It is Lathril, Blade of Elves. We're running 2 copies of this legendary creature. Elf Noble 2/3. It is 2 generic, a black and a green. It has Menace. Whenever Lathril deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green Elf Warrior creature tokens. It also has Tap. Tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. Depending on how many of the Elf Lords we have out, whenever we attack with this menacing creature, we can use Tyvar to untap Lathril, then tap Lathril and those elves, and each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. So that is my Elfball deck tech. Again, with the removal, whatever removal spell you think is sufficient for the meta, that is what I would slot into those spots. But other than that, this is just go hard elves and try to get Craterhoof out as fast as possible. Thanks for checking out this video. I hope that little deck tech inspires you to actually build something and try to get Craterhoof out to where you can play and drop them on the field and just ruin your opponent's day. Again, this set's coming out. Pre-release is in like 2 weeks, so make sure that you're prepared for that. There are some great cards, and again, I just wanted to talk about a few of them because I know there is plenty of content out there that is talking about every card. So I wanted to give a little bit more emphasis on a couple of the cards. And then, again, you have that little deck tech for Elfball in Standard, which I think will be fun, and I'm not sure how well it will do. Like I said, I don't play Standard, and that is just something that I thought y'all might like to see as a standard deck tech using Craterhoof. I'm sure there's more efficient ways to cheat them out, but again, Elfball is one of my favorite decks that I've played in Commander. I've tried it in Modern, so hey, why not throw a Elfball deck together in Standard? So I would love to hear what cards you're excited about seeing from Tarkir Dragonstorm, so go ahead and leave that in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and check that description, because I do have links to Amazon for some Magic products, and if it's something that you're looking for and you haven't purchased or pre-ordered, or you're just wanting to see what the current prices is, you can hit those links. Of course, if you use those links to purchase anything, I do get a small commission for sending you there, and it is at no additional cost to you. I just want to make you aware that if you use any of the links in my description, that I do get a small commission off of that. And again, it is no cost to you. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and let me know what you want to see in the next video. And until next time, keep slinging those spells.
When sparks ignite, stand, play, it's game.